I'm Will. This is Lance. We're two of the founding members of
Coalition
Pack,
UCR.
and we're here to do our weekly debrief of some of the issues that have been going on this week.
Yep, and today's October 29th,
2025
at 3:35 p.m.
Close enough. 3:22. Okay, so I guess economic sector. In the economic sector, tomorrow Trump is scheduled to speak tomorrow morning to President Xi Jinping, which has been confirmed by both the White House and by the Chinese foreign minister. They're going to be discussing an upcoming deal where Trump wishes to import more agricultural supplies from China in exchange for giving China access to NVIDIA's new Blackrock chip, which he has spoken very highly about. In fact, he personally praised Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA.
Ooh, I also heard that NVIDIA and other stock companies are relocating to the United States to open up their own corporations. Is that true?
I believe that there are some talks economically about potential increased operations in the United States. I know the big major economic effector of the next few days at least is this the way this conversation is going to end up going with the chairman in China. So the big concerns are whether or not the deal is going to be successful, and whether or not Trump will decide to put more tariffs on China, which will cause two opposite reactions to our financial markets, basically.
And also, have you heard that yesterday or the day before, Donald Trump met up with the Japanese Prime Minister?
It's true. Trump was just in Japan meeting with officials there. It seems like he's...
What were they discussing?
I'm not sure what they discussed in Japan. I believe it was mostly just a diplomatic visit, making sure that we maintain relations with one of our key allies in the Far East. That's what they would call it on the news, the key allies in the Far East. It's not that far.
Yeah.
It's just Japan.
Yeah. And also, news breaking from America, right, as a social issue. So currently, 4 hours ago, I saw a video on TikTok, right, and ICE agents, they were detaining a 16-year-old student, right, and he's in high school, and they were calling him racial slurs, right. I couldn't fully hear what the ICE agents were saying, but as described in the video, it mentioned that ICE agents were saying racial slurs to the young individual.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that this has happened. It's really horrible. Obviously, all of our support goes out to him and his family. Unfortunately, the social climate of America has become incredibly politically volatile, and so it allows for people of certain political groups to excuse hate speech and similar kinds of behavior. And as we can see, there have been numerous documented abuses of power by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, and those abuses of power are currently continuing under the Trump administration. They've increased in scope.
Yeah, and you know what's the most heartbreaking thing that I saw during the clip of that 16-year-old student being detained? He was like, "I'm trying to go to school."
Yeah.
That's the most heartbreaking that I've ever felt to an individual that we don't even know. But yet that person is an American citizen.
They're just trying to get an education.
Yeah. And Trump also, he wants to defund K-12 education, as he did during his during the beginning of the 2025, right?
Yep.
He defunded the Department of Education.
Right? Yeah. And as we've seen repeatedly under the Trump administration, there have been attacks on higher education institutes. There have been attacks leveled against Harvard. There have been attacks leveled against UCLA. Any sort of political dissidence or rhetoric that doesn't align with the viewpoints that our president has been putting out have been met with hostile reactions and attacks. So that's another one of our big issues, especially as students, that is important to Coalition Pack, and is also personally important to us, is the attacks that have gone against education, because higher education is one of those important avenues for people to become smarter, become more politically active, become more politically educated, and to get themselves out of the poverty and the struggle
Yeah.
that a lot of Americans find themselves in.
And Trump wants to eliminate the Department, or he already did, eliminate the Department of Education solely because of this. The more educated that you are, the more likely that you are to vote Democratic compared to the Republican. Because like as like what we've seen right in polls is that more uneducated voters, not all, but more uneducated voters tend to lean more Republican. That includes GED holders and high school dropouts.
Yeah, you're saying that people that don't get education are more likely to vote Republican.
Indeed, I am.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is widely documented. I mean, if you look at any sort of political poll, if you look at any sort of research on that, it's very apparent that the higher your education, the less Republican you end up voting. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with being a Republican. Obviously, here at Coalition PAC, we support
we
people
support
of all
anyone.
We support people of all viewpoints, cultures, ethnicities, sexualities, etc. This is a safe space for political discourse.
We don't care who you are. That's like
we're here
like,
for everybody to be educated.
Yeah. And we are also like planning to debate a UCR Republican student, right?
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that debate. We'd love to have a
civil and honest debate.
Civil, honest conversation about the issues that affect America.
With a moderator, so we could fact check each other just in case if we tend to be biased on one end and that person's biased to the other end.
Ensuring a debate that is fair. So obviously we've addressed a couple of issues so far. We've addressed some of our social issues, and we've addressed some of our economic issues. Other big things coming up is there are ballot measures coming out.
Proposition 50.
Proposition 50 is
next
4th?
Tuesday.
Yeah, Proposition 50 on the 4th of November, next Tuesday. That's the day to vote for that.
Vote yes. Vote yes. Although you can vote no.
Vote. Regardless of what you vote for, vote. Go out and vote. Do your civic duty. Be politically active, even if you're in a state where you feel like it's a more blue state or a more red state or a more purple state. Your vote is still important.
Just vote.
Exactly. Yes.
For my personal opinion, I do want Prop 50 to pass, which will pass.
I think likely it is.
Because look at what Texas did, right? As part of their redistricting agenda, they did not let the voters of Texas choose if they want to redistrict their state or not. Instead, the government lawmakers in Texas, that includes the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, like choosing to eliminate 5 Democratic seats in Texas, while threatening to arrest Democratic lawmakers if they don't attend to their appointees in Texas. Meanwhile, in California, our current governor, Gavin Newsom, he's letting the state of California and the voters choose if they want to pass Proposition 50 or not.
Exactly. The decisions of what passes and what doesn't are entirely in your hands. They're in the hands of the people. And so ensuring that you vote on all your elections, all your propositions, every important measure that comes across that you can vote on, you should vote. Because that is what's going to allow your voice to be heard at the end of the day, regardless of your political beliefs.
Yeah. And what do you think about the New Jersey governorship with Jack Ciattarelli versus Becky Sherrill? Like the polls are tightening up and like
the polls are very close right now. It's really anybody's election. It could go either way.
Because
we just hope that the election is fair and free and.
Because as what we've seen in 2024, despite the fact that New Jersey had a lower turnout compared to 2020, but in the 2024 election, it mirrors the 2012 turnout in New Jersey. So it's alarming for Democrats already. Because post-Trump, MAGA won't turn out as much, and as well as the anti-Trump voters, they won't turn out as much post-Trump era. So in 2021, Jack Ciattarelli got close to winning within the 3 percentage points against incumbent Phil Murphy.
Yep.
Yeah, and also Trump flipped Passaic County.
He swung 3 counties in New Jersey
to the
Republican Party. So the Republicans are polling very strongly in New Jersey. If we look at New York, obviously Mamdani is polling very well. He's polling at 44%.
To Andrew Cuomo's 34%. And
Cuomo's at 34%.
And Curtis Silua, 11%.
Yep, so that makes up, what is that, 89%.
89%, yeah, approximately. So
So
there's
approximately-
11% undecided voters.
Yeah, and so those 11%, right?
Could go either
Those
way.
those could go either way, and that's really going to affect how the election goes, which I guess goes to show you that even in a state that is
Even in the 5 boroughs, that's like
even in the
heavily
5 boroughs,
Democratic.
it's still very contested. So your vote does matter. You should get out there.
And look at the Virginia governorship back in 2021. Glenn Youngkin won against I forgot the other candidate's name already.
Yeah, but he did really come through, and he ended up clinching that election in Virginia, which was unexpected. So
Yeah, it was unexpected because like Nova, if you go up to Nova, which is Northern Virginia, the suburbs are trending more Democratic, as well as Maryland and DC. You know, like any like counties that are surrounding DC and Maryland are trending more to the left. So it was quite surprising.
yeah.
Although in 2025, I see some Sears losing against Abigail Spanberger.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Nice, most likely.
Yeah,
The polls are just too far for Wilson Sears.
to make it back up
Yeah.
again. Yeah, I guess another big issue that's coming up is Trump is discussing putting more tariffs on China in the next, I believe, on the first
To
week
help
or
small
so.
business owners. How can they help them? It's gonna raise their prices and
Yep.
it's gonna
It's gonna
be really unaffordable.
It's going to affect small business owners.
Yeah.
It's going to knock the S&P 500 down a couple points. And unfortunately, the S&P 500 has a very weak growth this year just due to the economic volatility, the increased
and
tariffs.
protectionism.
Yeah, and the protections that businesses are normally required to follow to keep our community safe are also being lessened. That's another big issue. If you look, I believe it was during his 2020 presidency, if you look at that train that derailed that big oil spill, or that big chemical spill. So, obviously, not everyone is an environmentalist and nobody's expecting you to be, but it's also not just our environment that's being affected, it's our homes, it's our communities, it's
and
people.
it's
Imagine
Earth.
if you're...
It's Earth too.
It's where we live.
Earth.
Imagine if you're walking down the street and there's a railroad by your house and a train comes off and spills a bunch of chemicals into your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where for the greater good of all Americans and for the greater good of all of the people, it's time that we stand up, and it's time that we start taking a hard look at these issues, because when it comes to the American people, it seems like we've...
We'll cut it. All right.
Yeah, there you go. And so when you look at it with our tariffs, we have the price of eggs at it was nearly $12 a dozen. In some areas, if you go to a more expensive county, you could be paying $10-12 for a dozen
I
eggs.
shop at Costco and like...
Yeah, Costco's gonna get you a good deal. Costco, you're probably
Yeah.
paying what are you paying, like $8-9 at Costco?
Approximately. I mean, my dad shops at Costco.
Right, so it's about there.
Yeah, but not many working families can
afford that.
Costco, because like Costco, it's really expensive capitalist corporation. Although their food courts are really cheap.
Costco has relatively cost effective prices for all of its goods, but unfortunately, with the rising tariffs, even with a significant portion of our food coming from the Central Valley here in California, coming from the Inland Empire, we do also rely on certain goods to be imported, and with the increased costs, it has made things less affordable for our lower income communities, and so that's another big issue, because it doesn't just affect the prices. The prices go up, people buy less, businesses become less profitable. Then the prices have to keep going up because less people are buying.
And we're also a first world country that cannot benefit to its own people. Instead, we're funding wars to other countries and funding more resources to other countries rather than our own benefit. And also, Donald Trump, he's opening up his own ballroom. Polls have shown that more than 2/3 of Americans disapprove of Trump's opening up of his own ballroom in the White House.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but there have been some use of funds that has not necessarily gone to the benefit of the American people. Yeah, the taxpayer money that has not necessarily benefited us or come back to our economy and our communities.
And when you also mentioned, right, about grocery prices, right? What Zoran Mamdani has like approached to this issue is that it's by opening up government-owned grocery stores. So do you think that's fundamentally a good idea, or do you think that's a bad idea? There's pros and cons.
I think yes. So let's just, instead of giving let's just outline the pros and cons. 'Cause I think we intend for this to just be an informative podcast. So let's look at it. The pros are that if utilized correctly, these government stores can bring food into our lower income communities. They can get more widespread access to fresh produce and to healthy food. And so in that regard, there definitely is a large pro. One of the major cons is the potential for poor enactment, for misuse of where these stores are needed, and for the government to run these stores in a way that doesn't necessarily benefit the most at-risk communities. Ideally, we'd like to see these sort of government grocery stores bringing in fresh produce to places that are more impoverished, to places that really need the access to food. You know, we don't need more government grocery stores in Los Angeles or San Diego or San Francisco or DC, or we need them. Obviously there are areas in each that are.
We do need government grocery stores in all cities. Yes. And rural areas, especially since the people in rural areas can't afford. They can't even afford healthcare anymore. It's literally destroying the hands of American people. There's pros and cons for government-owned grocery stores. Although we should give the people fresh produce at the government-owned grocery stores, because these are people. You can't treat them like a second other ordinary human being, because we're all humans, right? Like William and I, we're humans.
Yeah, we're all people.
Yeah, we're all people. So I believe that at the government-owned grocery stores, they should people should be having fresh produce and healthy produce, instead of having typical Cheetos, Lay's, Takis, junk food in general.
Yeah,
we should actually have fresh organic food, on how you shop at Sprouts or Whole Foods.
Just like it is at those stores, which Whole Foods and Sprouts being considered more pricey stores, having fresh produce brought at an affordable price is something that I think could really benefit the nation, and it has a huge potential for societal social welfare benefits. And obviously, it's up to the government to figure out how they want to allocate those funds. We have a lot of funds that are allocated to our military-industrial complex, our defense sectors, and it's a war. And so, seeing what funds, especially since we're giving funds out to foreign countries, seeing how we could use those funds for the American people should be the government's priority. The American people should come first.
American people and immigrants.
All people that are living here in this country, that are here,
correct,
paying their taxes and working and being a part of our society, deserve to reap the benefits of their taxpayer dollars. Another big issue is the current government shutdown. So with the current government shutdown, food support has been suspended. Medicare, which was already lessened under Trump, has been stopped. And the overall processes of the government have started to grind to a halt. So we hope that the government is going to be able to reach a compromise. We hope that the government is going to be able to get restarted, because the longer that this government shuts down, the more it hurts the average American consumer. Without the government processes that we trust to run our societies and to benefit us, especially for our lower income communities. I know I've been stressing it a lot, but especially with the food stamps being cut off, with Medicare being cut off until the government shutdown and already being lessened, it increases the burden that are on our families, especially families who have parents working 1 or 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. So we'd hope that the government, especially after President Trump concludes his visits to China, will be able to get somewhat back on track. But
I don't think we'll be back on track.
I envision that it's going to take a decent period of time for us to get the ball rolling, so to speak.
Look, a majority of MAGA Republicans, right? They do think that the Democrats are responsible for government shutdown. and but a majority of independent voters and Democrats have analyzed is that Donald Trump is the president of the White House, and he is a Republican. And the House is controlled by Republicans. The Senate, they're controlled by Republicans. So who do you think who's responsible for the government shutdown? That's for you to decide.
Yeah.
And another breaking news, right?
I do have one more breaking news point.
Right.
So I was actually just looking at this on the New York Times, but 3 minute it's like 4 minute article you can just listen to. Reported this morning or this afternoon about one by Mitch Smith reporting from Chicago for the New York Times about 2.5 hours ago, the protesters, including a House candidate, protesters of the immigration crackdown, were just indicted by the federal government. So we're already seeing free speech rights being threatened. We've seen it in Florida, where if you speak out against Israel, you get cited for disorderly conduct.
Signed by Ron DeSantis.
Yep. Signed by Senator Ron DeSantis.
Governor.
Governor Ron DeSantis. And so in this bill, it infringes upon our First Amendment rights, our free speech rights, and those are something that I think Americans all hold sacred. Regardless of your political belief, we all believe the ability to freely express yourself is an important inherent right,
and that's a civic duty
to our society. So, the one thing that you can do right now, is vote, and not only vote. You can write your senator, you can write your governor, write your congressman, and say, we want our First Amendment rights protected. We want free speech.
We want freedom of choice.
Because it's not
freedom
right.
to autonomy.
It's not right that any person, regardless of political belief, regardless of whether you agree with them or not, if they are not spewing hate speech and they are not spewing vitriol, they have every right as a human being, as a citizen of this country, to express their opinions. And that is what we need. We need this idea that has come out under the Trump administration that if somebody disagrees with you politically, you can silence them is a dangerous idea, and it borders.
That's one step to dictatorship.
It is, and so we need to protect free speech rights for every political party.
It doesn't matter if you're a right-wing MAGA, or a left-wing socialist, or a centrist. It doesn't matter what you believe in. What matters is you have the right to free speech. That's what matters. And also, lastly, right? A week and a half ago, when it was a No Kings protest, right? You've seen that Donald Trump released an AI video of him like releasing turd from a helicopter dropping onto protesters, especially with this one activist on TikTok. You know Harry Sisson, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he dropped feces on him, and it was an AI generated video. So my concept is Donald Trump is doing this to his own people, really. So is he really contradicting his campaign trail during the 2024 election of America First movement?
Yep.
He's contradicting.
So,
and where's healthcare benefits, right? If Trump really cares about America First, we should be getting the healthcare, universal healthcare, access to a higher education, helping the working and middle class is what Trump has promised, but he has too many broken promises. Trump threw it after us.
Yeah. So here's another big economic issue for anybody who cares about the economy, which I assume a lot of people do. The Fed has cut rates to the lowest level since 2022. So currently, the United States dollar, the USD, as a currency, is valued at an all-time low, and our stock market is valued at an all-time high. The last time that something like that was similar, we experienced recession.
Oh, back in 2008.
In 2008.
And do you know the Dodd-Frank Act of 2008?
Remind me?
The Dodd-Frank Act was like a bank bailout. It was
yes. The banks were bailed out by the government. Yeah. But I think our big concern with this right now is we currently have a bubble. We have a big AI bubble economically in the stock market, etc. And we don't know when, within the next couple of years, more than likely that bubble is posed to burst. And with the stock market being at an all-time high and the US dollar being at an all-time low, with the Fed having to consistently cut rates and cut rates and cut rates because of these tariffs, it has devalued the American economy. It has raised the price of consumer goods. And if that AI bubble pops, if our market collapses like it did in 2008, we could be looking at a very big recession. Yeah,
bigger than '08. Like honestly, and maybe we might even get the Great Depression. I mean, I'm being over dramatic, but we might actually, because on what Trump's doing, like historically, right? Having protectionist policies will destroy a country more than advocating for free trade and global alliance.
Yeah. So if you look here I have this is from the New York Times, but you can find this chart anywhere. This is a chart of the federal funds target rate. So as you can see here on this big first drop, it's marked as recession. This was in 2008, where the market dropped, flatlined here till about 2015, 2016. Had a subtle growth from about 17 to 20 before it dropped back down again, and has only recently made a climb back and is now starting to drop again. So we've been in this cyclical cycle where the market goes up, right? Crashes into the 2008 recession, tries to make it back a little bit, comes back down. We went back up for a little bit to
and down
in from 2020 to 2024, right? We went back up to almost pre-recession rates. The chart, the graph looked good, and obviously our economy wasn't as strong, I think, as it was pre-recession, but at least the federal funds rate was at a level that was equitable to pre-recession rates. But it's now dropped another 4%. And there's a potential, there's ambiguity around it, but there's a potential for the rates to continue to drop further in December, which could lead us closer to a recession. So that's just a really big issue to look out for. Make sure you're protecting yourself economically. Make sure you're being smart with your money. Now is a time to save as much as you can, because we are in very volatile economic times, and we are not sure what's going to happen economically. We're not. I'm not a financial advisor. I just keep up with the news. We're more
like political activists.
We are. I'm not here to offer anybody like real financial advice. I am just saying that currently that's where the trends are pointing us, and that's what the data reads to us. So that's what we're trying to inform you on. But don't take any of this as solid actual financial advice, like you would from an advisor. Take it as somebody is advising you, but you should, or someone is telling you these things, but you should go and look into it on your own. I would encourage that, especially because it's an issue that really has the potential to affect all of us across America, really regardless of what our beliefs or lifestyles are. Another big thing that happened recently, there was an article, I forget who published it, but there was an article published in the American media about is Israel at fault for the killing of people in Gaza. And so that's obviously Gaza is a very big issue.
And there was the confirmed deaths are more like...
The death toll is at over 68,000 Palestinians have been killed, and over 170,000 have been injured, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. The death toll is widely believed to be higher due to thousands of people buried under rubble or otherwise unrecorded.
Although there's more people that are dead than that are unreported.
Exactly, and
it could be millions.
And so this is a big issue because obviously the United States has dedicated a significant amount of funds to supporting Israel. And so it affects everything geopolitically. The United States has been scorned by other nations who view what we are doing as wrong, as morally reprehensible. And Israel has ramped up its bombing of nations in the Middle East. They have been actively hostile. They attacked Iran. They have been bombing hospitals, centers. They have been killing civilians in Gaza who line up for aid. They have been killing people who are supposed to be receiving aid that is sanctioned by the United Nations. A whole host of war crimes have been leveled against. Accusations have been leveled against Israel. So it's a very serious issue. Some people are comparing the genocide there to the genocide which happened in Germany in the Holocaust in the 1940s during World War II. And so it's important to be cognizant of these global issues, because it's not just a matter of how does this affect us, but it's a matter of morality. It's a matter of women and children are being killed en masse. Hospitals are being targeted, the elderly, people that are non-combatants. And so and there's been widespread sentiment documented on the internet about how people that are doing these killings feel no remorse for their actions. And so it's important for us to be aware of the actions being taken and to not hide the truth. The truth is civilian centers have been targeted, aid has been booby-trapped, refugees have been killed.
And this is what I also learned from my intro to political science class, right? But there are several crimes that the world leaders have committed due to the Israel and Palestine war. That includes international war crimes, like crimes against humanity, right?
Yep, crimes against humanity. What's happening in Gaza is being called a genocide, and people are being systematically killed. So
this is
your voice. Yeah. Your voice is important now, because the only way to stop the government from supporting these sort of actions is to stand up and to make your voice heard, because the more your voice is heard, the more the government cares, because the more people that speak out about an issue, the more that. But so that's another major issue. Another big thing on Trump's agenda plan is that he has stated that he would like to meet again with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and have talks with him. The U.S. is currently in energy conflict with China, and North Korea has been caught a little bit in the middle, so that's another big issue. Obviously, energy is a really major sector. The energy business is very profitable. It's very necessary for all of the important R&D that the government does, and so these issues are really heavily on his radar and on the president's agenda currently. So I think that about covers all of the major issues that I had to discuss for this week. So I think we're going to call it here. If there are any other issues people want to hear us
leave in the comments.
Hear us talk about, please leave in the comments what you'd like us to talk about. We'll either do that next Wednesday, or if we have the time, we will do just a quick impromptu podcast addressing those comments and those issues that you would like to hear us speak and educate and give some deep research on, just so that way the information is easily obtainable and able to be disseminated to you guys, in where you don't have to go hunt through the internet to find it. You could just come to the video and watch it. So please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. We love the interaction. If you're somebody who's local, we're at UCR. If you're somebody who's local and you'd like to come in and speak about a political issue, please reach out to us. We can find the time. We love to have people come in. We love to hear people with different viewpoints. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent, if you're a libertarian, if you're a socialist, doesn't matter. We want to hear from you. So if you believe that you have an argument that you can articulate and you want to come and talk about it and get it on the air, we would love to have you here. It is October 29th at 3:58 p.m. And this has been Coalition Pack
UCR. Riverside.
This has been a Coalition Pack UCR. Thank you for watching.
Go Highlanders.
Go Highlanders.